Set 6 Azurite Sea came out, I dropped this YouTube video showcasing a whole new world deck list I created. Now, with time passing and coming back from the Disney Lorcana North American Championship, I've actually updated my whole new world deck build. Not only have I just dabbled in no new worlds list, but I've actually do think now whole new world is in a bit better spot than it was previously. And if you are using this for your store championship, honestly, in a best of 3, this deck is still very good. This is the updated list I want to showcase with you guys. I will be going over every card in detail. We have a really good early game package for that defense with Hook and Smee and Calhoun, followed by a nice mid game control with Tinkerbell and Cogsworth being able to consistently sing A Whole New World and our other songs, followed by ending the game quick with Ariel or Tamatoa and Lucky Dime. At the end of the video, as always, I will be going over mulligans, what cards you want to see in your opening hands on the play and on the draw. As always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Definitely helps the channel grow and it means a lot. Also, leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you think of the video. And enough of that. Let's just get into the deck profile. Okay, to start off the deck, we're playing 2 Captain Hook. Captain Hook is very strong in the current meta. When you're playing a whole new world, I think it's fine to play 2 instead of 3 because when you do draw new 7 cards, you don't really want to draw early game pieces anymore late game. 2 Captain Hooks should be fine with the other cards that we're running. Again, a Captain Hook is just super strong to contest any one lore quester, Diablos, Merfolks, Turnibox followers. It can trade with anything that has 3 willpower. I really like Captain Hook. I don't think you should cut Captain Hook and any Sapphire and Steel list because this card is just very strong on the draw. Popsicle on the draw sometimes just doesn't cut it. And the reason why Captain Hook is still very strong is because we're playing for Mr. Smees. Mr. Smees is the best 2-drop in the game, being able to quest for 2, and it only costs 2 ink to play. And the fact that Captain Hook is a captain, Mr. Smee will not take damage at the end of the turn. So this combo right here is able to pretty much contest daisies, contest locations. Smee being able to live mid game as well. If your opponent doesn't know you're on Hook, they can might quest with something, thinking your Smee will die at the end of your turn, and you play a Captain Hook mid game, and your Smee doesn't die. They'll just be surprised, and it's a really good tempo play. I really like this package. If you're gonna play Hook, it just makes sense because you're playing Smee. And then to finish off that early game package, we're playing 2 Calhouns. Calhouns is the best 2-drop on the draw in the game, having that +1 resist against steel. Just a very strong card. It can contest Flynn's and you can counter steel decks. Very strong card. I wish I could run 3 or 4 copies, but the uninkable space is really tight. But this early game package should help you stop any lore. And again, it's not to shut down your opponent completely. It's just to stop the bleeding from happening. You just need that 1 turn for the lore to slow down, and you can catch up and ramp and play your big bodies. We are playing 1 Tipo. I like Tipo in a whole new world list just because of the uninkable count, and you sometimes don't need new worlds in certain matchups. So if you do open it, you can use Tipo to ink that away. I think Tipo is very strong as a one of because you can again contest these 1-drops that like to quest early on the draw, and Tipo being able to protect yourself from Tremaine is also a plus. Followed with Tipo, we're playing 2 Pete's. I think 2 Pete's is really good in this meta to counter beat preps, counter any songs being played on your opponent's end. So Amber Steel, Emerald Steel, a good time Pete into Sapphire Ruby is also strong. I think more than 2 Pete's is a bit clunky. Since we're playing a whole new world, we can see our Pete late game. I think 2 is very fine. The best card in the deck, we're playing for Hiram's. This is pretty standard in all Sapphire and Steel lists. Very strong card. You would never play less than 4. Now for our singers, we're going to go ahead and showcase 3 Cogsworth. Cogsworth is the best singer in the game as far as a 5-drop. Gives your board +1 resist, quest for 2. Cogsworth just very strong into every single steel deck. Also, as a singer, he cannot get Elsa on the draw, so they cannot exert him since he has ward. This is the best card to sing a whole new world with on the play. It can help if you don't have Captain Hook, your Smee prevent from dying at the end of the turn, taking damage. You can trade pretty much anything with your early board state with Hook and Smee Calhoun. Having that resist is just very strong. 4 Cogsworth, I could understand it, but I think 3 is just fine since we're playing other singers as well. Followed by Cogsworth, we're playing one Champo. I think Champo is very strong this format. We kind of have seen Gogo fallen off the map, and we're playing one other card that kind of benefits with Champo, but we play Popsicles to heal Champo just in case, you are playing against a Gogo, but you'd ink him either way. Champo at 1 is really good for fighting locations. I know locations have kind of came back in the meta, and against Ruby decks, Champo being able to sing a whole new world and not get traded in with Maui is very strong. He also protects your board, protects your Hiram from when it's exerted. I really do like this card at 1. And another spicy card that I really do that I really like just because of the art and had to flex it is the one Baymax. This card I think is very nice. Fits really good into this deck since we do have a lot of early board presence and we're able to trade. And then after you sing a whole new world, maybe with the Champo or Tinkerbell and they attack into it, you can heal, gain 2 lore. It's kind of this deck's personal goat. Our own goat lets you get 2 lore on play when you remove 2 or damage, or you get a lore for each damage removed. And then every time he quests, he gets that effect as well. So potentially being able to gain 4 lore is a huge tempo swing. It costs only 5 to bring out, so it works with our deck on curve. And since we're playing Champo, we're playing Cogsworth, we're playing Smee, we're doing a couple more trades compared to other decks. I think the one Baymax works really well. Followed by Baymax and our singers, we're playing for Tinkerbell. Pretty standard. This card isn't going out anywhere. Really good into aggro decks. Really good in just to the meta overall. Maybe outside of Sapphire Ruby, you can just contest the board. Really good singer, and overall just a strong card. For our end of the game package, we're playing 2 aerials and 3 Tamatoas. Since we're playing a whole new world, we'll see these cards more often in the late game. So it's fine to cut 1 Tamatoa compared to when you're playing no new world list. And then 2 aerial is fine. These cards are key to end the game versus your Ruby decks to catch up when you finally stabilize. Just really strong checkmate pieces. I think the 3-2 split is pretty consistent in New Worlds list. So for the actions, we are playing 4 Cell the Azurite Sea. We are playing 4 Cell and 1 Tipo with the 4 Fishbone Quills, giving us 9 options to ramp. Since we do want to sing Whole New World consistently on curve, I think having that ratio for ramping is really good. I wouldn't really go any less than that. And Tipo also just pairs really well with our strategy on just wanting to be able to do something every turn and ramping as well. I think this split just works really good in New World lists, and I think it's becoming a little bit more standard. Followed by Sail, we're playing 3 Visions of the Future, the best card in the deck next to Hiram. We cut 1 compared to no new world list just because we're playing a whole new world, so we're seeing a whole new 7 cards a little bit more consistently. I think this card is still amazing to run. I know a lot of people don't run this many copies in new world lists, but I disagree just because you want to make sure you keep the gas going and find the pieces when you need them, and this card just does it for you. You're never playing it early, you're always playing it mid to late game, so you always have enough ink to use it and then enough ink to find the card that you picked from it. So this card really good. I wouldn't play less than 3 in New World list. Speaking of New World, we're playing 3 whole New World. A lot of people like to run 4, but I think now as the format has changed, gone a little bit more faster. Since we're playing cards like Hiram and big bodies, I don't think you need 4. I think 3 is just fine. You can, with the early board game state that we have, we can stall a turn or 2 just in case we don't see a whole new world early. Dig it with Visions or Hiram. I think 3 is fine. This card is just broken in the game. When you abuse it with Fishbone Quill, you're able to get a whole new 7 cards. And the idea behind the deck is pretty much get your early game set up, ramp, single whole new world, and then start dropping bodies every turn with Fishbone Quill. Having that amount of ink, being able to draw 7 cards back to back, it will pretty much just win you the game. You also get to find your end game pieces like Ariel, Tamatoa, and Dime, where you're going against Ruby decks. And then the matchups where Whole New World isn't good, you can always ink it with Fishbone Quill, with Tipo, and play the game through curve with Hiram, following by, again, your 5 drop into Tinkerbell and to Tamatoa, and win the game like that. This card is broken, but it's only broken, honestly, with Fishbone Quill outside of Steel Song decks. We're now going to go into our removal. We're playing 2 Fire the Cannons, 1 Twin Fire, and then 2 Grab Your Swords. Now, I think in Whole New World, since you're refreshing your hand a lot, you will see these cards Other than Fire the Cannons, when you want to see it on the draw early, you'll see these cards later in the game. So I think this ratio is fine. I wanted to, when you're playing Whole New World, you have to mess around with the unequal slots. So I found that I had to cut one Fire the Cannons and a Swords. And I figured, wait a minute, I can play one Twin Fire and pretty much have a balance of both. Twin Fire is a very strong card, especially in Whole New World, since when we have to use Twin Fire to ditch a card, you're going to draw a new 7 either way. So this card acting like another Swords is just a very strong card. You can also punish your opponent on the draw if they go one drop into another one drop on their turn 2, thinking you don't have a turn 1 play, and Twin Fire will just answer that. I think Twin Fire is a strong card. It balances out this ratio, and I really do like how it's been working. And to end off our removal, we're playing 2 Along Came Zeus and 1 Let It Go. These are going to be pretty much all our genie answers, anything evasive, Maui Sharks, locations. I think this package is set up really well since we have a good amount of singers being able to sing these songs. These are the best removal cards that we have in the deck outside of Hades and Arthur. The reason we're not playing those cards is because we're playing a whole new world. We're playing more 5 drops, so we're playing cards that can sing more, and these cards are just very strong. Again, answering Genie, answering Maui Shark, anything with evasive. I really do like this combination of removal tools that we have. To end off the deck, as always, we have the items: 4 popsicles, 4 Fortispheres, 4 fishbone quills, and 2 lucky dimes. I would not play less than 8 one-drop items. You need to have 8 because you just need to see that item consistently with your Hiram. I don't like playing 1 lucky dime. I think 2 is good since because you might ditch it early in the game or send it to the bottom with visions. I think 2 lucky dimes is fine. And as always, the whole reason why this deck is broken is because you're comboing Whole New World with Fishbone Quill. Fishbone Quill is the best, if not most broken ramp card in the game. Being able to just turn your card into an ink, use that ink, use Whole New World, draw 7. You can potentially play 2 Fishbone Quills and just out resource your opponent. Crazy. Never play anything less than these items other than maybe 1 lucky dime. Now we're going to go over the mulligans. The whole strategy behind a Whole New World is being able to ramp, get to your singer quick, sing a Whole New World, get a whole new 7 cards, abuse Fishbone Quill, abuse being able to put bodies on the board, and then sing Whole New World again. So when you're on the play and you're on the draw, you want to make sure you always have one body to contest the board early while you set up your ramp and your singer. You want to open up with the singer, and then depending if you're on the play and on the draw and knowing your matchup, you want to keep a Whole New World in your hand. When you're on the draw, you want to keep a little bit more of removal tools, a little bit more defensive tools, but right now we'll get into that. So when you're on the play or on the draw, you always want to open up an item. You always want to make sure you have an item so that way your Hiram is able to draw you 2 cards when need be. Speaking of Hiram, this is probably the most important cards to keep in your opening hand. It's the best draw engine in the game. This right here will net you 3 cards. If you have another item, that'll be 5 cards that you get off this package alone. To contest the board early or to set up with your singer a little bit of defense, you want to open up a 2-drop. So you want to have a Smee or a Calhoun as well on the draw to contest the board since your opponent is going first and they're going to be a little bit ahead of you until you're able to ramp. So you got to make sure you have something to fight the board back. Again, speaking of ramp, you want to open up with a ramp card on the play or on the draw. On the play, Fishbone Quill is a way better card to set up a whole new world with. You just have to be careful when you're emptying your hand and playing your singer. And then on the draw, Sail is going to be a little bit more better since depending on the matchup, you can play Sail and a 2-drop depending on how the board state is. But again, you want to open up a ramp card. These are going to be the most important pieces to keep in your opening hand. So if you want to play it safe and when you're mulliganing, you want to make sure you have at least these combination of these 3-4 cards. Everything else is just pretty much how more aggressive you want to mulligan for. So, for example, since we're going to be setting up a whole new world, you want to be able to sing. It's up to you, again, depending on your hand, if you want to keep a singer. So that's going to be either Cogsworth, another 5 drop, and or Tinkerbell. These are gonna be the singers that you would want to keep in your opening hand. If you do decide to keep a whole new world, you want to keep one of these, or pretty much good for ink. Cogsworth is just gonna be the safest singer to play on the draw, since he does have ward. When you're on the play, you can be a little bit more aggressive, but you want to make sure you have a singer in your hand if your mulligan is going pretty good. And then again, you can decide if you want to keep a whole new world in your hand. When you're on the play, you can always afford to keep this. You're really only gonna get punished by green steel if they discard it with Ursula, but I mean that's fine. You're not whole new worlding in that matchup either way, and you have Hiram in your hand if you're keeping this, right? So you shouldn't be keeping this and not Hiram. But yes, you can keep this on the play on the draw. That's when you decide what your matchup you're going into if you want to keep this card. Now, more cards that are on the draw. Captain Hook will be very useful. It's just to fight the early board state. So this would be a very good hand to keep in the mulligan, or if you want to look for it. Same thing with Fire the Cannons. These two cards are going to be your best defensive tools on the draw for turn 1 or turn 2. And then Tipo is going to be a nice card to keep in your mulligan. Kind of like always, it's never something to where like, oh, I have Tipo, do I send it back for a sell? Always keep Tipo in your hand if you open up with it on the play or on the draw. If not, unless you already have another ramp card. Twin Fire is going to be really good on the draw as well to punish your opponents. If you don't see a Smear Calhoun and you have this in your opening hand, very strong to contest the board with. P is going to be another card on the draw that you're not really keeping on the play because you know to play him into Amber Steel, Green Steel, Sapphire, Ruby, any matchup that's going to use songs early on. And the last card you would want to keep in the mulligan on the draw is going to be Champo, knowing in the matchups that you're going to be fighting the board a little bit more aggressively and you need a challenge with Smee Calhoun. You're going to have a Champo there to be a very strong card to keep on the draw. That is it for the end of the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're not subscribed already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments. As always, I have more content coming out. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys till next time.